Well, greetings, and thanks for joining us for another episode of Lightbulb Moments. We're glad you joined us today. I am Tom Kuhn, your host, and I am live from Austin, Texas. It's been a couple weeks since we were on. We were on a couple weeks, 2 weeks ago to the day, and I had a late minute cancellation, so I took that episode solo. My guest, we found out the day before the podcast, was on jury duty. And as a result, Micah Nickens, who I was super excited to have joined us 2 weeks ago, got postponed into an upcoming episode. Today, our guest is Ronan, who is the CEO of Phorest, joining us live from Dublin. Except for we don't have him yet available. So he should be joining us very shortly, which is okay because I've got some other things to share with you today. And thanks for joining us and spending your precious attention and time with us today. I did want to give a shout out to Lightheart Sanders, who is there's Ronan. Ronan, we'll get you in a minute. Good morning. How are you? We'll get you off mute.
On mute, yeah.
All right. Good morning, Ronan. I'm going to do a little prelude and I'll get you in just a second, okay?
Yeah, no worries.
So shout out to Lightheart Sanders, the CPA firm that we partnered with for some of our data projects, and they're a great sponsor of Lightbulb Moments. All right, so I'm down in Austin, Texas, and today is the final day of South by Southwest, which is an amazing week of activities, lectures, music, film. For me, it's not so much about the music and the film, but it's about the opportunity to experience several different thought leaders in different environments. And so I got to be sitting on some presentations with the founder of Reddit. Actually, I can't remember and pronounce his last name, but he's married to Serena Williams. And on the panel with him was Russell Wilson, who's married to Sierra. So we have these two guys that did a panel, and a lot of it had to do with AI and doing good and all of that. I also sat in a session with Ben of Ben and Jerry's, who is on a movement to buy back Ben and Jerry's. Mark Cuban was there. Anyway, it's a lot of super interesting stuff down here, and this city is absolutely buzzing. So this is our third year in a row for a March hiatus in Austin, Texas, timed around South by Southwest. And I'll be sharing some more insights around that in the future. But let's get to our guest right away here. Ronan, how are you?
I'm great. Thanks, Tom. Good to see you.
Happy post St. Pat's Day. I've got
Yeah.
three different elements of green on today.
I've no more green. I'm not wearing any more green. I've been wearing too much the last few days.
All right. Well, top of the morning to you, at least top of the
Yeah.
morning where I'm from. So,
Yeah.
well, it's always great to have you as a guest. And there's always a lot of things to cover. Congratulations on your summit in January. I heard just tremendous things about it. There was a retreat in a castle and some really cool stuff that you've done in the past and what you're doing in the future with your annual event, which next year you are taking on the road. You're moving away from
Yeah.
Dublin. Let's talk about that just for a moment, okay?
Yeah, well, we're not we're staying in Ireland, because I think that's part of the magic of the event, that it is in Ireland, because that's one of the reasons that makes it different for everyone attending it, is that it's somewhere totally new. But we've been doing it in Dublin for that was our 10th year. It was 12 years including COVID, but there was two during COVID we didn't do. But so it was our 10th one, and I think just we've had people coming. There's been people who've come to every single one, and we just thought we'd show them somewhere else in Ireland, somewhere totally different. So we've gone to the west, down to County Kerry, which is one of the most beautiful places in the world. And we're basically this small town. It's called Killarney. It's a famous town actually for somewhere that's very small, but it's got amazing, beautiful streets with like loads of pubs and old buildings and things like that. And there's an amazing venue there, loads of hotels and B&B. So there's just like unlimited accommodation offerings because it's in January. So you can have, something super luxury, or you can have something whatever, somewhere small with just two rooms in it. with like a local family looking after you, whatever you're up for. And then you from there you'll be able to walk to the venue because everywhere is within 10 minutes walk. And yeah, and then we get to take over the main street for one of the nights, and we're going to be able to have lots of different music and talks and different things in different pubs and things like that. So it'll be a totally different experience, but I think people would love it. Yeah.
Yeah, good. Well, I'm excited about it. I might just have to make it, I might
Yeah,
just have
you'll
to
have to
return.
come. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's a really great video with you and Barry Quinn.
Yeah.
If our listeners haven't seen it, they got to check it out because you did a really great job of having some fun announcing it. So, all
Yeah.
right. Well, what we're going to talk about today is a very common topic, and that's the topic of AI.
Mm.
And as I was mentioning to our listeners at the beginning, so many conversations. It seems like you cannot go through a session, for example, at South by Southwest without AI coming up. And there's so much, back and forth. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it going to enhance humanity, restrict humanity? And, a lot of people are
Mm.
having their thoughts about this. But what I'm super interested in getting really tactile here
Mm.
and how AI can influence and affect a salon model. And what you have done
Mm.
is you have released or are releasing
Mm.
three very definitive features. And I want to unpack each of those because I think there's a lot of merit in seeing how this will very specifically optimize the salon model. So there's
Yeah.
three of them. Why don't we start with the one
Well,
that's
yeah, just and Tom, is it okay to just jump a little bit back before we get into that? Because I wouldn't mind
please.
just kind of because I think you raised some interesting points. There is so much noise about AI, and it's just increasing. It's not like other fads, let's say in the past, where do you remember there was that thing called Clubhouse for like three
Yes.
months, and everyone was talking about Clubhouse. And and then 3 months later, no one's on Clubhouse anymore. And we see fads come and go. And like it's very clear with AI, this isn't a fad. It's more of a like a genuine, almost like a revolution, really, in how we're going to work or how a lot of knowledge work is going to happen. And so like that's very clear now. Like, because it's 3 or 4 years since ChatGPT, and this train is just getting faster. And yes, there's loads of negative possibilities. Is it terrible for the environment because it's using up all our energy? Is it, are we going to be taken over by AI or overlords? All these things, to varying degrees, have some element of truth to them. The overlord one, let's say, not a huge amount of truth to that one, but like other ones. But I think like what's clear is it's here to stay, and you can't. AI, all the AI tools that we see today, that's the worst version that they are. It's not like other things that, come along and then they get worse over time or something like that. Everything we're seeing with AI is going to be better tomorrow than it is today, and that's really clear that that's what's happening. And so you can't bury your head in the sand about it. The reality is that like everyone's going to be using this stuff. Everyone already is using this stuff, and they're going to be using more of it next year than they're using this year. So you have, like, whether you like it or not, you kind of have to get with it. Do you know what I mean? Unfortunately, you just have to get with it. And obviously, for a lot of people, they're really excited, and it's a great opportunity. And so within that's kind of that whole world. I guess the way we're approaching it is this industry is different, as you have said many times yourself. Um, we're in a people industry, so the core hub of our industry isn't going to be disrupted by AI, right? So like, whereas a lot of other industries, they are. Like if you're a software engineer today, your job is going away or is going to be completely different if it isn't already, right? So there's huge like career paths and businesses and industries that are going to be completely radically changed by this. But our industry isn't going to be radically changed. It just won't, because somebody's still going to come in, sit down, and somebody's going to cut their hair and talk to them and whatever. And that's going to be there. The whole hub. It's just everything around it is going to change. And I think that's the first thing just to say that it is like that. And so we look at it like we're calling it like a holy trinity. Um, so like I'm originally Catholic, so that's possibly why I'm using that kind of visual, if you think of it. And like so I'm looking like when we come from a computer point of view in salons, the Trinity is like one is the people. So the people, and the people is like your clients, but also your staff and stylists. Like that's one element of it.
Mhm.
Then you have, what systems they use. So the systems can be software, so like their salon software and their bookings and all that kind of stuff. But it could also be like their systems for how they manage commission, or how, your methodology around running your business and managing your costs, or stuff that you guys do, like all the systems there. So you've got people and you've got systems. At the moment, those two things work together. And what AI is, it's the third of this trinity. It's like you're going to have AI tools and agents and all this technology that is just getting better all the time, but it's not going to replace people or your systems. It's going to sit as part of a trinity, and they're all going to interlock together. Does that make
Yeah,
sense,
makes total
Tom?
sense.
Right?
Yeah.
I think you have to look at it that way. If you understand our industry, you have to look at it that way. And so then when you're looking at so if and that's what we believe. And then so then when you're looking at AI, we're not looking at replacing people. Now there may be jobs in the future that are replaced, or there's agents that are running your stock control and you don't have to do that job anymore or whatever, right? But you like 99% probability it's going to be there's going to be jobs done by AI that need to interact with your systems or interact with your people, and it's all going to need to work together seamlessly. And the more seamlessly that works together, the better it will be for your business. The more likely that your teams are going to embrace this. Because if your teams don't embrace these technologies, you can't force them to take it, because people are at the center of our industry. So they have to embrace it as well. So that's why we're looking at it as like a holy trinity, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, I love that.
So,
And
so that, so then when we came to our features, we're like, okay, so each feature has to work seamlessly within that. And so and I don't know which one you wanted to mention first, but we have three
yeah,
that we have out there that we launched at the summit, to our existing clients, and then we're launching to everybody next month at our,
yeah.
our summit collections.
So let's unpack
Yeah.
each of those just in a
Yeah.
moment. And I love the Trinity concept. And to be clear, you run a tech company. I don't. And so if anybody should be at the cutting edge of this, it should be you and your team. And now, to your point about certain industries being disrupted more than others, I'm
Mm.
going to go to a panel I sat in on down here at
Yeah.
Southwest, which was on the panel was the founder of Madison Reed. I don't know if people know who Madison Reed is, but it's essentially do your hair color at home type thing. That was their model. Well, now they've opened up salon locations and they hire professionals and all that. But she asked everybody in the audience, she said, how many of you would like to have your hair colored by a robot? Looked out in the audience and not one person raised their hand. So to your point, all right, now let's unpack one by one some of the features, and let's start with the front desk one, and then
Mm.
we'll go through that one first. Okay, so front desk AI. I know you got things like two-way chat. You can turn it on
Yeah.
and off. You can be selective. So let's unpack that one.
Okay, so yeah, so front desk AI, where is specifically helping make the front desk more efficient, right? So that's your in terms of people, in terms of in your Trinity that we're talking about, it's any front of house people you have, or anyone who just works front desk part time. So if you don't even have a front desk and your stylist kind of are sharing, answering the phone or doing whatever, it's that. Okay, so it's interacting with those people. The systems that it's using is clearly the ones that the customers interact with the most, which is like booking an appointment, changing their appointment, canceling their appointment, moving their appointment, whatever it is, right? So so that's your system, and so the AI is sitting on top to work with both of those things. So what's happening is that the best way to do this is to work through communication channels. So a chatbot, obviously, because we've got people who are texting back and forth with salons every day. I mean, I'm on Forest. We've thousands of salons across the North America who use our two-way chat feature, and they use it like hundreds of times a day. So someone gets a reminder, they respond to that reminder, and on their desk, the front of house people have this big queue of messages that they're texting back with while they're answering the phone, while they're dealing with someone at the desk, right? So it's an obvious place where like 75% of those chats are simple administration. They're like, I'm running 10 minutes late, or I can't come in today. Can we move it to tomorrow? Can I move it back an hour? You know, I'm booked in, on my reminder, it says I'm booked in for balayage, but I wasn't. I was actually meant to get a full head color or something. Whatever it is, right? Um, those can all just be what's happening is the text comes in and a human has to reply back, make a change, check, go forward and back, use up like 5 minutes. And then in an hour's time, like one person might only get 20 of those chats done and nothing else, just to keep those people happy and sorted out. And so, like what we've built basically, it's actually a suite of agents that sit there. It's multi-agent. So they just sit there all the time and they're able to take those conversations. If the question, they're able to answer it. They say that it's hi, it's Ivy or whatever you call it. But they're able to solve, at the moment, they're solving 85% of the questions that they're asked. And then there's 15% that they're not asked. And I'll come back to that in a sec. So that's 85% of those chats, all that administration work being taken away from those front of house people. And then that's allowing them to spend more time on the tricky clients or more time with people in the store, with a product upsell or whatever it is, chatting or doing whatever, like add a way better service because loads of that admin is solved and the customer's happy because they got their request answered immediately. The cool thing is, though, 15% of them, they still want to talk to a human. And how do you do that? Like, how do you do that transfer? And that's the bit that we really wanted to focus on because there's unbelievable models out there for doing chat. Like we're using the latest version of OpenAI for our model, but like you can use Claude or whatever you're using for that. The models are amazing. They're able, if you build it anyway decent, you're going to be able to answer those 85% pretty well. It's the 15% you don't, and that's where a lot of the challenges are. So if you buy a two-way chat product right now, and if they don't answer and they want to speak to a human, how does the human get alerted that they need to speak to the human? There's no really easy way to do that. The nice thing about ours is it sits there on the appointment screen. You can actually look in real time and watch the chats happening. You can see them happening through the AI agent, check that they're okay. And then if one asks for a human or if the agent doesn't feel they can answer it, it starts flashing red on the appointment screen straight away.
Okay.
So
So
it lets the person know.
it'll have a visual cue.
Yeah.
It'll cue the human. And I have to tell you, that's probably one of the biggest personal frustrations I have when you get into one of these
Mm.
queues is how to get out and how to talk to a human. And they do everything they can to prevent you from talking to a human. Most of the bigger companies right now, even like paying a utility bill or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I know
All right,
exactly.
so you've got
So,
this.
so the human's there and it's red, and then the person can jump in, they can answer the query, um, move it around. They can ring the phone because the phone number's there, so they can just ring the customer if they want to. They want to take it to that level, or the person might say, "Look, can someone call me?" You'll see it all there live. But the other like there's a bunch of features that we've built around this Trinity idea, which is like you can then turn off AI for that customer forever. If the person's like, I
Okay.
never want to
Yep.
speak to them again, you just turn it off. And then from then on, every time they text in, it'll only be a human answering. But you've got the AI answering the other ones. You can turn it off for 24 hours. So just to sort out this particular issue. And then the next time they come in next, 6 weeks time, it goes back onto the AI if that's okay. So just there's loads of we've built loads of features to make this work really well for the customer and for the front of house. Do you know what I mean? So that it's all seamless. And the chances are, because so many more calls, and this is what we're seeing, so many more calls are answered by AI, the humans actually have more time to jump on those important ones straight away as well. Whereas in the past, they might have had to wait if they're all being answered by humans and there's a big long queue and 100 texts came in the same day, you might take you a few hours to get back to them or whatever. Do you see what I mean? But now you can jump on it straight away because all the other ones are being handled for you. So I think, and the other thing that we noticed is as well, I'm sorry, forgive me if I'm going on about this too much, Tom, but there's so much interesting things here, is getting your front of house team to want to do this is one of the challenges. And there's no point that's actually the biggest challenge, I think. And there's no point kind of saying, oh, well, it's so good, they're just going to do it. Because what you're saying just to the salon owner is you're kind of saying, right, your team who've been brilliant at their job, and they're going to get nervous. Is this person taking away my job? Why would they embrace that? Just think about it. Like, like, okay, you should use this tool. It's really good. Your customers are going to love it. But you're like, yeah, but it's kind of taking my job. Like, do I want, I'm going to be resistant to that. Not everyone is, but you can be pretty sure, like, 7 or 8 people out of 10 are going to be a bit resistant. They're not going to embrace it fully
Feel
if they
threatened by
think
it.
it's
Yep.
taking their job. And that
Yep.
is a reality. And so you can't, it's got to be feel so that I can sort of, I can jump in a little bit, I can turn it off, I'm fully in control. You know what I mean? Like they got to have that feeling of control with it to get comfortable with it and to learn that it's not taking away their job. It's actually enhancing the experience of the salon for all the customers. Do you know what I mean? And therefore should lead to more money and is in many cases doing that as well. So
Now, do you train the agent or does the salon train the agent? Is it a combination of both?
yeah, it's both. So a couple of things we did. We felt that the agent can be named whatever you want, and you have tone of voice settings, and you can also train it on certain information that you want it to know. So for example, so you can call it, if
Jackie.
you had a salon, you can call it Tom if you
Okay.
wanted. Do you know what I mean? And that
Yep.
that's who your clients are going to perceive. So that one makes it feel like it's your salon as well, which I think is really important because I what we don't want to happen is that let's just say the whole industry adopts a product, and even if it was our product, but like any product, and so every time you ring, or you ring on the phone, which the voice stuff is coming very, very soon, obviously, but isn't as good as the chat is right now, globally with all the agents. But like, you don't have the same name agent. Do you know what I mean? Which is happening, like, because there's like you can ring hundreds of salons, and they're all using the same agent product, and it's all got the same name. So
Yeah.
then what? So what happens then is then you got the situation where, yeah, like it doesn't matter which salon I ring and I get in the same name. It feels like what's the originality? What's the uniqueness about a salon? So that's one thing. A second thing is, so you can upload things like this is our parking situation. Like there's loads of chat from new customers. Where do I park? And you want to explain, well, you park around this, there's a cinema around the corner and there's a car park there and you can park there, or you can park just out in front of the street, but you got to pay. All that information goes in, so that can just be fed as questions come in about parking or whatever it is, what hours I'm open, all that stuff. All that stuff is collected. And then, yeah, and then you can tweak tone of voice and things like that as well if you want to make it more. I mean, we haven't seen people do this yet, but like make it more humorous or something like that, if that's what you want to do.
Yeah. Tan just weighed in and she's been using the feature and they have named it Ivy. So Ivy is
Yeah.
their customizable name. Well, listen, I mean, I mean, feel threatened. You say maybe 7 out of 10 people would feel threatened. That wouldn't surprise me. But I also see that the front desk has a lot of pressure on them, and that they have a lot of angst that they can't get everything done, and there's a lot of demands on front desk and managers. So I certainly think that at least for a lot of the accounts that we work with, they're going to embrace it. They're going to embrace it and see an asset to their service delivery. Okay. Anything else on front desk AI?
Yeah, just the voice. So we have the next stage of front desk AI is obviously answering the phone for you. And so we haven't launched our voice yet. And the reason we haven't is because we're not happy with the quality of the models when it comes to answering, um
Pause.
answering to the same level. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Just pause for a quick second. Okay. So we're talking about front desk AI, and what we've covered so far is what's already launched. Is this already launched, the features, everything
Yeah.
we've said?
Yeah,
And
this is
then,
all live. This is live in about 700 salons right now.
okay, gotcha. And then now what you're going to talk about is the future, which is not available, but what you're working on, what
Yeah,
you
just
want.
but related to front desk. So like to do
Absolutely.
because the
Yep.
next thing is obviously people ringing in, and there is tools out there, and they're integrated to Forest. Like we work with companies that are doing them, and they're doing a great job given the technology constraints. But when you ring, I don't know if you've done this, but when you ring some of these things, it's a little bit weird. It's a lot more weird than when you text. When you text, you kind of know that it's an agent, but you have high expectations of how smart they are because of your use of ChatGPT and Gemini and everything over the last few years. And they're like that. But when you ring, it's this valley of death, when they take a few seconds to respond to you, and if you say something, they pick it up wrong, and it all goes a little bit weird. Um, it does work. It definitely works sometimes, but doesn't work to the same level yet as it does with chat. And so but the models are improving so fast. Like we think at some point towards the second half of this year, you know, from October, November time, the models at the speed they're getting good at, I think those live call ones will be good enough that we'll be taking Ivy in the case of that salon or whatever you call it, and making her or him or whatever it is, whatever you decide, that voice will be good enough as an option, and it'll all work the same way. So you'll be chatting on text or chatting on the phone. It'll all be tracked in the system. And if you need to move it to a human, it'll all work in the same kind of format allow a human to jump on if they need to.
Good stuff. Great. Thank you for that. So we got current and we have
Mm.
future. So the next area, I'm going to give a little preface. It has to do with, I think you call it cheat sheet AI.
Mm.
And I'm going to talk about Acuity methodology real quick here. And that's something we call the missing link to wow.
Mm.
What we found in many occasions in order to create that relationship with a client, what happens before and after the visit is oftentimes as important what happens during the visit. Are you prepared? Do you know the client's name? Do you remember what you did last time? What products they use? When to suggest times for pre-booking? And it's always been a process, and we found the most successful people prepare for their client visits and follow up. So
Mm.
having said that, tell us about a cheat sheet AI. That's a mouthful there, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Wait, cheat sheet. Yeah, yeah. So
Is that what
I
you actually call it?
we
Cheat
call it cheat
sheet?
sheet. We just
Okay.
call it cheat sheet. But yeah, I suppose technically it's cheat sheet AI, but we just say cheat sheet. Which yeah, now that you're saying it, is you can
It's a
kind of
tongue
get
twister.
tongue twister exactly. But basically, how it works is exactly what you said. Like the best stylists, and when you think about your best performing stylist, and anyone on this who's thinking about their best performing stylist, they're the ones that do that little bit of prep before each visit. They just outperform everybody else. And the real difference between them and everyone else is they can be bothered to do their homework, and most people don't bother, right? So they don't put the work in, so they're not going to get the same results. And at the moment to do that though, it's a bit of work. It is a bit of work because you got to I got to look up their notes. I've got to go and have a look at their history. I got to click through their client card. If it's on software or something, I got to look through the client card. Oh, I want to click away. Did they leave any reviews? Let's go and have a look at those reviews or their last review. Um, and their service history, all and who were they with? Did they go to a different stylist or whatever? All their background, and then all their notes, like, did somebody capture something of maybe something sad happened, something happy happened, whatever, just some general information about them as well. So all that information, it's all there in, say, something like Forest or whatever system you're using. We've collect all that information. We've so much information on each person. And the top 1% of stylists, they will do that work. Everyone else doesn't. You can do loads of training, coaching, motivating, whatever, and you might get another percent to do it, but you're not going to get most other people to do it. They're just not going to do it. Um, so that's what cheat sheet is. It's like cheating the system effectively. It's allowing you, instead of having to do all that work, you click this little button on your phone on their appointment, and it goes and checks all that information for you and puts it together, and it puts it in your tone of voice as well. So this is what's really cool. And this wasn't actually designed, it just happened because all the notes are collected sometimes over 10 years, 20 years. You've hundreds of thousands of notes in certain circumstances, maybe even millions. There's a tone, each salon actually has a tone of voice. There's a way they have of talking about their clients, talking about people, and that's actually collected, and the AI learns that, and then collects all this disparate information and serves it to you in this note, which
Mhm.
just says, their product should be running out now. But don't forget to remind them they went on that holiday and you never reminded them about it. And she was saying that she was interested in maybe this hair treatment. So maybe mention it to her again, see if she wants to do it, whatever it is. But does it all in your language, like it's the salon speaking to you. And yeah, like it's incredible. It's actually such a, that's why we call it cheat sheet. It's such a simple thing. It's just one click of a button, and you're basically doing sort of 15, 20 minutes work on each customer, but you're getting it in 3 or 4 seconds. And the results are amazing. Like if people just click that button, they are performing way better. Their targets are going up. And the reason we know that, Tom, is because one of our biggest products is staff goals, where we track all stylist goals across the country, or they track their own goals with their managers and their owners and everything. And their goals are getting bigger. The people who are using cheat sheet are getting better results in their
On
goals.
here. So
Yeah.
you actually have some data to show that those that are using cheat sheet have an uptick.
Yeah. So people are using they're at the moment, and like this has been live since third week of January. We're looking at like an 18% increase on average. The people who are doing 5 cheat sheets a day, uh, if they're doing a minimum of 5 cheat sheets a day, they're seeing an 18% increase
That's
in their results.
Yeah,
So
that's huge. Yeah. Well, let's come back to that at the end when we talk about the 17% challenge. Okay.
yeah.
All right. Good stuff. I love that. And it does allow a busy producer to
Mm.
be able to keep their focus on the guest, but also be prepared and not go off in this space where they've got to pull out their handwritten notes or somehow try to put it all together. It does. I love this feature, actually. Absolutely love it. All right. Let's get on to the third one. Okay. This is going really fast today, by the way.
So,
You
yeah.
have something else you want to add on cheat sheet?
No, no, I just think yeah, everyone should use it. It's if you're a Forest user, and you weren't at the summit because it went out to the summit users first, but it goes out to everyone else in April. But if you want access to it now, if you just drop us an email or drop me an email after, I'm sure you'll share my email and you're a Forest user, I can get it turned on for you. You can start just using it and seeing for yourself.
All right.
But yeah, the third one is reporting AI.
Yeah.
So and just to step back a second and explain a little bit where we're coming from this. So I think one of the challenges, and I mean, you know this more than anyone, Tom, but uh, reports and getting people to look at reports regularly. Obviously, the top performing salons are always on top of their numbers, right? But it's getting access to the information you want. Yeah, there's usually like a couple of reports that you look at each week, and you know the information you're looking for. But what if there is other like bits of information? Oh, I wonder what's our retention rate for, Lisa this year compared to last year, or what's yeah, and how does her like what's her retail upsell compared to what she was doing a year ago or compared to that other stylist? And there's probably reports you can get and you can trawl through and try and get that information, but it takes time. And unless you're doing it all the time, you never remember where those reports are. You have to go looking for them each time because it's a part of the software that most people just don't look at every day.
Mhm.
Uh, and so we're like, we got to solve that problem because it's got all this information. Like we have all this incredible information in a computer system, all this data, it's all there. How do we like get that out to people easier instead of them having to like contact customer support to find out where that report is or what they're looking for, and then they forget, what it was. And so we just thought the actual chat module, like the chat interface, is perfect for this, so that you can just go ask the chatbot
Mhm.
within reports, tell me what Lisa's churn rate was, or tell me what her retention rate, can you compare Lisa and Julie, and like how do they do on product sales, or just give me all their top metrics, and just ask the chatbot to tell you the top metrics and how to compare them. And then it just comes back to you with that report in real time. Well, it takes a few seconds, obviously, to compile it for you, and then just presents it to you in the chat module. And so you can do this on your phone or you can just do this on a computer. And for me, like that is just, I think that overcomes one of the challenges we have with reporting and numbers generally, is just making it easier to present them or to give them back the information that they want, and they can use their own language to ask for it. So that I'll ask for it, whatever way I ask for it, it'll give me the right information back. Do you know what I mean? Like the chatbot can understand what you're asking. And that's the power of these these models that have been developed over the last couple of years is how good they are at just parsing through what you're asking. Do you know what I mean? And understanding. And you probably know that when you use ChatGPT and you spell things wrong and it still knows what you said, what you've asked, you know?
Okay. So
So
so you have unpacked three different distinct areas that is part of the current Phorest platform, of which new. And I want to get some participation here from our listeners here. And don't be shy, people. Get that get your chat going here. Which of these three features is your favorite? Because I've been thinking about that in the back of my mind. Let's say I can only do one. Which one would I do? And I'm still thinking through that, but I want to get some reaction here. So what's your answer? Is it number one? Is it the front desk AI? Number two, is it cheat sheet? Or number three, is it reports? Gloria has already voted and she says reports. Reports, desk. We're getting some good reactions here. What else you guys got here? What is it? Desk, cheat sheet, reports. We are going to, Carla said cheat sheet, desk, and reports in that order. Good interaction here. So what about me? What would if I could only pick one, Ronan? That's a tough one. Okay. Sounds incredibly magical. Okay. I'm gonna kind of unpack each one real quick, just sort of live and just stream of consciousness. Number one, well, first of all, they're all solving a problem. The front desk piece is solving a big problem related to customer service and profitability. Front desk is an area that's a really big spend and it keeps going up each year. So how do you control that spend and deliver excellent customer service? Cheat sheet, I love that one too. Growth is a issue right now. And we find that looking over the last few years, we're in a multiple year decline for retail. Client count tends to be flat. Average ticket is going up. So I love cheat sheet. Then reporting, I don't know. I'm going to be a chicken. I'm not going to pick one, but I am going to use this as a segue into.
Well, I don't know if reporting is for you, Tom, because I have a feeling that if you were running your salon back in the day, I think
I'd
you
pick
might
reporting.
need that mightn't be for you. No, because I think you'd know what all the reports were already, and you'd know which one you wanted. I have a
Okay.
feeling.
All right. Well, you got some good feedback here in our chat, Ronan. And now this is a great segue into a project that we're working on together, which I'm super excited about. And I am going to maybe put a little bit of a spotlight on cheat sheet for this one, because one of the things that we're doing is we are going to do a 17% challenge. This is something that Qnity has done in past years, but we haven't done recently. This is a national 90-day, actually it's 13-week challenge to have your producers increase their average weekly sales by 17% or greater from what they used to do. And I'm going to do a quick, I'm going to pull something up on the screen here because I want to unpack this a little bit. All right, so 17% challenge. It starts on April 5th, and our deadline to enroll, I think, is next week. However, if we have space, it can go beyond next week, but we already do have, I believe, 42 companies, which is great. Phorest clients get $100 off. Use Phorest on the registration form. And to give an idea what it is, it's a growth challenge. The last time we did it, we had 50 companies. We're way going to exceed it, 50 companies this time. And what we found is that producers, and I'll say whether it's a stylist, colorist, massage therapist, esthetician, whatever, before, for those that enrolled, the average client count was 21. At the end of the 13 weeks, the group overall raised their average to 24, which is huge. That's 3 more clients a week. Do the math on that. And their average ticket went from 77.32 to 81.53. And the average person increased by over $17,000 per year. And what that collectively produced was almost $10 million of annualized growth from this community. So it's really a community challenge. And I love that Phorest is participating in this. And inside Phorest, there's some really great reports, community reports. You should reach out to Phorest if you want to have access to them that will help do a lot of the math. So anyway, now the cheat sheet would go perfect with this,
Absolutely.
right?
And that's why, like, because those figures are new, and I couldn't believe, and that's why I was dying to say it to you, because I couldn't believe how close it was to the 17, because it's like, so there was people who were doing let's say $1,000, and now they're doing 1,150. Do you know what I mean? And that kind of
Yeah.
thing, or 1,180 or whatever it is. So, like, it's if the forest customers who are doing this use cheat sheet and just get all their staff and stylists using it, they could, on that alone, they could hit the number. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Well, let me unpack the pain point here. And I want to be clear that growth is not easy for salons. And many are reporting flat growth or declining growth. So, especially in retail. So, this is really timely. And if you're, one thing came out loud and clear in the P&L study, that's the importance of revenue. Um,
Mm.
you can't increase profitability without a constant focus on revenue. So, that's why I love the 17% challenge. And I love how the cheat sheet helps enable it. So that could be the secret sauce for someone entering in the 17% challenge and how they're going to have at least 17% growth. By the way, if you have 34% growth, which is very possible,
Yeah.
especially for someone that has a lower client count and a lower average ticket,
Mm.
that's called a double 17er,
Yeah.
34% growth. So anyway,
Mm.
we love partnering with you guys in this, Ronan. Love working
Mm.
with you. I've got to pick your brain on one other thing before. Can I ask you something? It's a little controversial. I got to ask a question,
Well,
though.
can I just say one thing just
Yep.
before you ask me the controversial thing?
Yep.
But on the 17% challenge, I want to say as well, I love the idea of the 17% challenge, because I know even in our own business, sort of like once a year, once every year and a half, if we have a big opportunity or a challenge, we have a thing called a theme, which is basically the same thing as what you're talking about here, where we have this, it's the priority for everyone in the company for a quarter, like, so for 3 months. So the hundreds of
Mhm.
people working, whether you're doing customer support, sales, development, whatever you're doing, this is the number one theme. And every week we meet on it for an hour as a company and talk about the wins and the challenges and share knowledge. Um, and it's been one of the best things we ever learned to do, a decade ago that we did it. And it always works. And I feel like this is the same concept, because it gets you out of it gets you out of your comfort zone for a short period of time. It's so much easier to get out of your comfort zone when you know it's only for a short period of time. Whereas if you're asked to get out of your comfort zone permanently, that's always feels harder to do, even
Yeah.
if it's the same thing. You know what I mean? And so that's why I really love this challenge. I think it's a brilliant idea.
Yeah. And I'll spare our listeners today all the reasons why 17%, why 13 weeks, how long it takes to create a habit. I mean, there's a
Yeah.
lot of science that goes into this too. But anyway, let's be clear with our listeners. There's a call to action. If you're not signed up for the 17% challenge, sign up. If you're a Phorest
Mhm.
user, use the Phorest code. There is a nominal charge for non-clients to
Mhm.
help, because it's a tremendous amount of work on our end, because we do several different webinars that really help leaders kind of unpack this, get the greatest results, tips, all that kind of stuff. So sign up for the 17% challenge if you haven't yet. All right. Here's my question for you.
Am I ready? Do I need to prepare myself, Tom?
Nope. We talked
Lean back.
about this. We talked about this.
Yeah.
Square,
Yeah.
Square eliminated about 40% of the workforce,
Yes.
saying that a lot of that had to do with AI.
Hmm.
What do you believe in terms of tech companies and maybe using, and I don't want to pick on Square, okay, by any
Yeah.
means here, but
Hmm.
what is your take on that?
Well, I happen to know a little bit about the Square thing, so I'm without, knowing Jack Dorsey or these guys who run the business, but I know people who work there, and Square were in a lot of trouble. Nothing to do with salons, but because of restaurants. There's a company called Toast, which I'm sure everyone's heard of, or they've got the receipts from all the, from
They're the
food.
dominant player in
Yeah, yeah.
restaurants. Yeah.
So Toast have been eating Square's lunch for like the last 3 to 4 years. And like Square, Square was obviously the first company to have that little chip, in all those like food places, and you'd always have the Square point of sale system, the really nice looking one that you'd always see. They got a load of that market first, and then Toast were eating away at all that market, and they were in huge trouble. And then they had overhired, they hired 5,000 people like 3 or 4 years ago as well. So that's actually like everyone knew that layoff was coming ages ago. And then I was just really surprised that when they said it was because of AI. And it's like AI washing. It's like
Uh,
it's so easy to blame or to sort of say, look, AI is going to be amazing. We don't need these people anyway, and we're ahead of the curve. And that sounds great. And then their stock price goes up because it sounds like he's being real visionary and whatever. And like the guy is a visionary, invented Twitter and loads of things. I'm not saying he's not a visionary, but in this particular instance, it is a little bit, it's hard to swallow, I think, because I was like, we know what's really going on there. He didn't mention Toast at all, but if you talk to people who work there, that's all they talk about, so so I think a lot of it, like they didn't get rid of 5,000 people because AI can do all those jobs yet. Now, I'm not saying they won't be in the future, but that isn't true. It's just not true. So, and there's a lot of panic then around that, which
I thought it was a good insight, and I wanted to prompt you on that. So thank you for that. Listen, so
Mm.
let's everybody give Ronan a virtual round of applause. Give him a little note in the chat there. The guy. I mean, what time is it there right now? It must be what like.
Uh, it's four. It's like half 3:30, 4 o'clock. Yeah,
All right. Well, it's not
four
too.
o'clock, nearly 4 o'clock. Yeah,
All right. So
yeah.
now, how many of these guys do you have? And we are getting these across the ocean.
Well, I've got one of those that looks like that, and then you gave me an amazing one that with a light in it,
A black or a glass one.
a sort of glass one, yeah, and it has like electric light in it, and with stones and everything. It's beautiful. Yeah, yeah. I
Isn't
have it
this the
downstairs in my
third
office.
time you, isn't this like
This would be
the
the
trinity
Trinity.
of our sessions?
Exactly.
Haven't we done this three times together?
Yeah. So this is our Trinity. I love things in threes. So yeah.
All right. Well, you should somehow we get this to you across the ocean. So watch for it. Thanks, Ronan. How's your family? I know that you one of the things you did last year, by the way, which our listeners probably don't know, but you took a hiatus, you took a sabbatical. Give us 30 seconds on that for a moment, because I thought that was super interesting.
Yeah, so like I've been doing forest since I was like literally still in college. We started it when I was still in college, so I've been doing it my whole life, and I love it. But it was 23 years last year, and I needed a break. Like I just needed to turn off my brain for, first time in nearly 2.5 decades. And so and my wife as well, her job. She'd been running a charity for like 10 years, and it was really intense and she was burnt out. So we wanted to spend some time with the kids. So we went away for 4 months, turned off our email, didn't check email, phone, anything for 4 months, detoxed from that, and went to live in Africa. And it was amazing, absolutely amazing experience. But one thing that it was brilliant, but then at the end, I was ready to come back as well. Like I liked it. It was a proper, got to
Yeah.
turn off properly, but I was absolutely chomping at the bit then to come back and get stuck in. And I've been so motivated since I came back. So
Not
definitely anyone who's able to do it, I recommend it. Obviously, I know I was very lucky to be in a position to be able to do it. We had a great team to
not
keep
to put you on
doing
the
it.
spot, but to put you on the spot. Are we going to see it in the Phil this year?
I can't make the field this year because we're away, but I'm really intending to make sure that I come again next year because I haven't been there for like the last 2 years, but
All right.
I'm going
We'll
to
see
come
you.
next year. I have it already in my, I know it's very far away, but I already have it in my calendar for 2027,
All
just so you
right.
know.
Well, we'll look forward to that. And I'm sure we'll have you on as a guest. Congratulations on all the great work you're
Yeah.
doing and your team. And you have a great way of communicating it too. So, Ronan, enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah.
Thanks much to the rest of you who's tuned in for the whole session today. Thank you. I hope you found it worthwhile and cheat sheet your way into 70% or greater growth going forward. All right.
That's it. Let's see those salons growing. Brilliant. Excellent.
All
See you
right,
later.
everybody. Ronan, thanks again. The rest of you, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you in 2 weeks.